The title for today's podcast is Medaase. Medaase means thank you in my native language. And this is part 4 of Medaase. I took a call one afternoon from a Pennsylvania number. "Hello, good afternoon," I said. "Good afternoon, Emmanuel. This is Cliff, calling from St. Paul's, Philadelphia." That was the beginning of my relationship with Cliff. During this first phone call, we agreed on a date and time when we could have an interview. We had that interview, and then a few days later, Cliff invited me to Philadelphia to visit St. Paul's. The visit was great. He picked me up from the airport and we drove to Chestnut Hill. The entire visit was an interview. Our conversations bore the semblance of an interview. The only formal interview I had, though, was with the committee, which was made up of parishioners who were Sunday school teachers, parents, and mission and outreach people. Every single experience with members of this parish said more about the congregation than about them as individuals. St. Paul's wasn't as big as Trinity Cathedral, but the welcome and disposition of the parish touched me a great deal from the start. Chatting with Cliff was so effortless. I got to know more about the church and what his vision was for the church over the 2 days that I spent with him. To the members of this group of faithful people from St. Paul's, Medaase. Right at the tail end of my visit, he asked me this question. This was Cliff. This was his question. "Why do you want to work with me?" Because of my experience in Colombia, I knew I wanted to be in an environment where the wisdom of a priest would be an anchor for me and a ministry that I cherish. And so I responded with this story. One of my old professors has advised that you should always seek to work with an old wise priest. My response caused a huge laughter from Cliff, who then asked, "So, do you consider me to be old?" "Not really," I said, "but you look more like a wise priest." A week after my visit, Cliff called to offer me the unique position of serving with him as the assistant rector. I accepted the position and moved with my family to Philadelphia. It just so happened that my family couldn't move with me at the same time. So I moved first and lived in the rectory for about a month before my family eventually joined me. To Amy, Cliff's wife, who opened her home to me, Medaase. I was welcomed by the parishioners, which helped me to acclimatize. I got interviewed by the Chestnut Hill Local, a local newspaper for the Chestnut Hill community and residents of Germantown, Pennsylvania. I have to say, this was a great beginning for me. I saw myself as being welcomed and accepted by the St. Paul's congregation. This felt more like All Saints. My one real rude awakening was that although St. Paul's is far smaller in size than Trinity Cathedral, there were more people of color at St. Paul's than at Trinity. And I could confidently say that by this time, I had become aware, so aware that I had to pay close attention to issues about race without becoming consumed by it. As an assistant rector, I usually told the joke that I was in charge of everything apart from raising money. And to an extent that was true. I did everything. I was involved in everything. And the opportunity to be responsible for different ministries was very helpful. I was able to learn and to hone my skills. One afternoon as I drove through town, I don't remember the exact location, but I saw a long line of people, most of whom were African American. I stopped and asked a person what the line was for. I was told that it was people who had lined up to receive food. Cliff had told me about the challenges of poverty, hunger, and homelessness in the city, and seeing this line confirmed what he said. The question for me then was how to get my church engaged. We began a relationship with Face to Face Germantown. Face to Face is a soup kitchen that offers a whole lot more services than just food. Apart from monetary support, I took the youth, the young adults, and other groups at St. Paul's to volunteer at Face to Face on a monthly basis. That was the first time volunteering at a soup kitchen for those who accepted this invitation and came with me. Serving at the soup kitchen opened their eyes, allowing them to come to see at first hand some of the dire needs of people within the city. This led to Thanksgiving Turkey Drive to help support Face to Face and Church of the Advocate during the Thanksgiving season. It led to school supply drives which supported St. James School, a new school that served mostly African American children in West Philadelphia. It also led to a few other initiatives, one of which became an annual youth mission trip to North Dakota. In addition to the myriad of mission-oriented ministries, some of which are still alive at St. Paul's, there are a few more things that I was able to do, such as oversee the Sunday school and build a new family ministry. St. Paul's had 3 Sunday services, 8 a.m., 9 a.m. family service, and a 10:30 service. Some parents typically gather after the 9 a.m. service for a social hour. On my first visit to the congregation during the interview, there were about 17 worshippers at the family service. On my last Sunday, there were about 93 worshippers at that same service. Most of these people who were at the service were new parishioners who were attracted to the parish by the work we were doing within the community. What I considered to be most important was strengthening children formation. And St. Paul's had already invested a lot in renovating Sunday school classroom, and I was invited to train as a godly play storyteller. And so I trained as a godly play storyteller and invited new parishioners to become trained as godly play storytellers too. St. Paul's typically funded training for their storytellers and encouraged them to attend conferences in Colorado, Tennessee, and all over the place. The resources that the church invested in its Sunday school program and in the teachers helped keep up their commitment level, and it is still continuing today as it was by the time I left St. Paul's. To our Sunday school godly play storytellers, Medaase. In strengthening our family ministries, we introduced formation opportunities for the parents who met for social hour on Sunday mornings. We offered parents night out, which provided babysitters, food, and movies for kids while their parents went out for dinner, picking them up a few hours later. We organized quarterly parenting seminars on mindfulness and parenting, had a quarterly potluck dinner hosted by different families, started an annual 3-day camping trip, which ended with the Eucharist on Sunday mornings, and a whole lot more. One of the interesting things that we did was to offer Easter egg hunt and family lunch on the Saturday of the Easter Vigil and this attracted many people from within the Chestnut Hill community to Kathy, Joe, and all the members of Parents Exchange, Medaase. Working with the youth of St. Paul's was often a challenging part of my ministry, but it was also the fun part. I was able to mentor young minds, and I occasionally get updates about them on Facebook, and I am so glad that they are doing marvelously well. Teaching the youth and helping them connect faith with the world was one of the beautiful things about youth and youth ministry. To the many youths with whom I shared a meal, traveled to North Dakota, served at St. James, served at Face to Face, and worked on many different projects, Medaase. Providence has a way of bringing things together, of bringing meaning to our lives, and of holding us up even in times of great distress. Providence has a way of opening new doors for us. And like I said in a recent Sunday sermon, we don't have control over how Providence causes things to manifest in our lives. One Saturday afternoon, as I sat in my office here at Christ Church working on my sermon, I heard a doorbell. I opened the door and guess what? It was Kathy and Joe at the door. Wow! This is such a big surprise, I exclaimed. What brought you to Colombia? You should have told me you were coming. Joe is a beer connoisseur, and he learned about a reputable brewery in town, so he decided to come to check it out. They also figured that since they were in the neighborhood, they should check on me. Thankfully, I was in the office, so we had a chance to visit with each other. I took them on a tour of our campus, and they were very impressed. To Kathy and Joe and all the wonderful people of St. Paul's, Medaase. These are but snippets of my time and ministry at St. Paul's. I learned a lot at St. Paul's. So when I departed for my new chapter at Christ Church, I felt this sense of having had a fulfilling ministry. I am thankful that I was provided with a unique platform to be inviting, innovative, creative, collaborative, empowering, and strategic, and more importantly, to shape the life of many beautiful people and ministries. To Cliff, who gave me this platform, Medaase. It is interesting to note that it was during one of these St. Paul's youth trips to North Dakota to volunteer at Standing Rock Reservation when I answered a phone call from Donna Campagna and Steve Alpin of Christ Church, Columbia. If they had called even a minute earlier, they would have missed me because I would still be on the plane. To Donna and Steve, Medaase. This initial call from Donna and Steve eventually led to my call to Christ Church as Rector. This September will mark 7 years for me here at Christ Church, and I think it has been a wonderful ministry. I am so grateful to God for the gift and blessing of being at Christ Church. Providence has a way of bringing things together. Medaase.